Now we want to see how we can configure Topcon GM50 series. You see the name is here, Top GM50 series. It is an SDR base. After centering it, you press OK. This is already the page that comes when the machine is new. So when you press OBS, it is supposed to display some of the programs on the page down here where there is F1, F2, F3, F4. But this one they don't come there sometimes. It comes when it is empty. When you want to change the page, you press function. You see page 1 is coming there. When again you press function, it shows you page 2. It brings the menu, delete this one. But this one sometimes they don't come there. So when they are not there, what you do, you go back to this page, to this display that always come on the machine. Then you press configuration. You see configuration is at the SF4. Then it displays all base conditions, instrument configuration, key function, common setup, the instrument constants. Now on all base conditions, when you press enter, you'll find there angles, distance, reflector, atmosphere, and others. So on angle stroke tilt, when you press there, it has this one, yes, horizontal and vertical. But you can change to yes vertical only, but or you can remove them or you put it at no. But always put it at yes, horizontal angle and vertical angle. You enable it by displaying yes. Then core CRN also is supposed to be yes. When you find that is not there, it is no, make sure that you put it at yes. Vertical angle observation is Dennis, in most cases, it has no problem. Always put it at Dennis. When it is the vertical angle, Dennis 9 angle, on at Dennis. Then offset vertical angle, and it is at horizontal, but you can put it at free. It depends where you're working. It all has no problem. Horizontal or free. So that put it at horizontal. Then angle resolution, remain at 1 second. Then that is all. You escape to go back. Then you want to see in distance mode, we have the when it is measuring on the reflector, the way how it fits with the prism. So fine single, it measures once and it displays the coordinates. It measures once and displays. When you put at rapid, it continues measuring, it does not stop. When you put at rapid single, it measures like 3 times, 1 time very fast, and it displays. But tracking, it continues tracking the prism. It does not stop. When you move the prism, it just remains tracking for the prism, looking for the prism, then to measure. But it is better you put it at single, fine single. Then distance mode, it is good when you put it at horizontal distance. Not vertical distance, but it's better when you put it at horizontal distance. Then horizontal distance, in surveying, we like to measure the plane ground. The plane ground, so with the total station, we measure it in a grid, not on ground, because when it is measured in the grid, it gives the earth curvature. It measures the curvature. So the line of the target, it will be on the curvature. So put it at the grid, constant 0.20, it's okay. There, yes, there is okay. Then that one is finished. You have seen sea level, yes. CRN, 0.020, horizontal distance, grid, distance mode, horizontal distance, H distance, prism mode, fine single. Then you escape. Now you see on reflector. That is when you want to use on no prism. That means you are measuring without a prism. You can target on the point or in a tree or in a house. You just measure without a prism. So when you want to change, you press this button. Yeah? Here you are measuring with prism, and when there is prism, it has this sign here, down there, prism. When you go to sheet mode, that is when you are measuring using a small sheet that is refracted, which can pick the EDM. This is the sign of it. This sheet is on, then the sign of sheet is here. But no prism, it gives you this sign here, a small arrow and a plus. No prism when you are measuring without a prism. So when you here to measure the prism is okay. Sheet mode on, prism constant. It is always written on the reflector. It ranges, it depends which prism you are using. Always check on your prism. Most of the prism of Topcon is -30. You write -30 prism, but sometimes you can get a prism which has a plus. You can change. You put a plus. You put a +30, but most of them they come with a -30. -30. Okay. This is all. -30. Enter. Then on the atmosphere, when you come to atmosphere, press enter. This way you change the temperature, pressure, humidity, and ppm. But ppm moves with the temperature. When you change the temperature, like the temperature, like now, if we can assume that the temperature of like Sudan is like maybe at 30. Let's say that temperature is 30. When you put 30, then when you press enter, you see the ppm changes to 14. Yeah. So the pressure is always constant. Humidity is like that. You don't change it. Put 50%. Don't change on humidity. When you change the temperature, it changes with the ppm. So let me go back to where I am, -25. Then I press enter, you see it goes back, ppm goes back at 10. Yeah, that is okay. Then on others, where we find PT, which is the point number, then this is the code. Station ID increment, it is an interval. Maybe when you are on road, the interval is the way when you are moving. But point number, you can begin with the code, then the point number comes. But I like to begin with the point number, then followed by the code. Then you escape, you go back, that is finished. Now we are on observation condition. Now let us see on instrument configuration. This is instrument configuration. Instrument configuration. Press enter. It brings you power supply, instrument, unit, password, date and time. On power supply, let us begin with power supply. On power supply, this is where you set the power to be automatic off or on. When you put the power off, that means to reach power off, power off. Here you can set when it is 5 minutes, it will go off. 10 minutes it will go. It depends at which time you want it to be automatically to be off. it depends. But when I'm fitting, that means I don't want it to be automatically off. When it is on, so it is me to come and switch it off, or I switch it on. So when I put at 5 minutes, after 5 minutes, when I'm doing my work, I'm not using it. After 5 minutes, it will go off. Okay? So that's how it works. Then also on power resume, you can put it on such that when you come and you press any button there, it will just resume automatically. Then in EDM echo mode, when it is tracking, there's a sound that is you hear in the machine. So in most cases, it has to be on. EDM echo mode, you can put, even if it is off, it has no problem. It does not interfere with the measurements. Now, we go back. Now we are coming to instrument. Remember on instrument configuration, now we are coming on the instrument. On instrument configuration, here you find on instrument configuration, we are now looking at configure the instrument. So this is the contrast, vertical, manual, reticle level, and volume. On contrast, you see it moves. When it goes, more you increase the contrast, it becomes darker. More you increase the contrast, it becomes more darker. So when it goes 0, then it becomes lighter. So you have to adjust the contrast according to your eyes, according to your sight. Now, vertical, V, orange is at no, don't put it at yes. When you put vertical manual, you put it at yes. That means that it will just it will give you big differences in levels, because sometimes you are renting when the telescope is at a certain angle. When you put vertical manual, it will target that point at a reference angle. So it is at no. Reticle level, that's all depends where you put, but it has no problem. Volume, that's the volume of the buttons. When you are pressing it is measuring. You can increase or reduce, or when you don't want it, you put it at 0, like that. Now, this is also finished. Now we are going to see units. Units. On units, we have temperature, pressure, angles, and distance. And temperature, we decrease, but you can change it into Fahrenheit. Degrees and Fahrenheit, but it depends what you are using. Pressure, also. Pressure in hectopascals. You can change it to, but always put in hectopascal. Then angle should be in degrees. You can put it in gone, whatever you want, meters, degrees, gone. But I like using degrees. Then distance, no, we normally use meters, but you can change it to feet, inches, meters, inches, and feet. But always we are using meters. Now we are going to the next password. You can set password to the machine. Date and time here you can, you can adjust the time, but always this is showing you. It is this begins the month, date, and no separator. But when you got time, it will put the separator automatically. Also, the time when you are adjusting has no separator. That is okay. Now I think that I finished it. Now we need to look at the key function. Key function to bring you define, registration and record. So on define, this is where you are putting some program on the pages which we see when we are beginning. This indicates this first line, it indicates the first page. The second line, it indicates the second page. The third line, it indicates the third page. When the machine is new, sometimes those pages, they are not there. So you come on key function, you define. So on the first page, like let me see, you want like topo to be displayed on the first page. You use this page down. You see it is changing. Always say how to change. Change down, you see the bring offset, how to bring coordinates, repetition, MRM, set out. So topo has come. When you see the word topo, you press OK. That means on the first page, the first line, when you go back on all them first page or base, then on first page, you press function change it. On the first page, you see now topo has come here. First page topo. So when you want to change this one, then on the next one, you also go back. You also escape, go back at configuration at S4, key function, S4, key function, then define. Then we need to change SHV. We want to put their resection. Let us put resection where SHV is. So now you press search until you see the word resection. Resection is here. Then you press OK. You go back and check. Obvious. First page, yeah, resection has gone there. Then we have another section which was already there. So we want to change this one. We put set out, SO. This next section. This is the one which we have defined. Now this one, we want to change this one. We put set out. You escape, configure, key function, enter, then define, enter, then this resection on the first page. I need to change it. I put set out. So you use this page down, borrowed, for level, area, FM, height, project, intersection, until you see set out. There are very many. Measure, set out. You cross OK. Now it is defined. You go back, you check. You see, it has gone there. And so even when next page, you also do like that. It depends on which you want to be or which you normally use on the field. Now, let us go back and we see on the computer, we see this deals with the softwares. Common type, command type. Otherwise, this deals with softwares when you are using the computer. These are also instrument constant coordination.
That one needed when we are doing calibration. So there is no need.
There is no need, but tilt also work, but they are supposed to be the same. Now that is it. Now in most cases, the most important thing now, so we have finished our configuration. Now we want to look at now one setup of the machine, or when you want to orient. After putting what comes like this, you press this one. Then orientation depends on which work you are doing. Let's see that you want to pick coordinates. You got coordinates which you have put on the screen. If the coordinates is not there, you look for the word menu. That is simple. You look for coordinates. This OCC orient is occupy orientation. Occupy orientation, that means you have to put in the station data. You put in the station data here, listing no things, point number, or the name of the point number, height of the instrument, code, that is the name of the benchmark or the name of something you are picking. Operator, you can put your name, the one who have done the work. When you fill those one, you see now we have here backside azimuth, backside nosing listing, resection. So when you are setting on the benchmark, now you can use either backside azimuth or backside nosing listing, but we normally use backside nosing listing, and then at F3 you press there. Then you put the coordinates listings, you put backside nosing, you put the backside elevation. Then you press OK. Then from there you measure. After measuring, it will give you. After measuring, it will give you. It will give you a observed distance and calculated distance. Observed distance and calculated distance when the benchmark are crossing should be the same. Then after measuring, I want to see when you measure, though I am not putting the exact coordinates, after targeting the point, I'm measuring. Badcon. Measuring. This is the distance, horizontal distance check. You see, we have calculated horizontal distance and observed horizontal distance. Though this I am demonstrating it, I am not setting on the benchmark. I have just measured somewhere. That's why I have a difference in distance, 214.5 kilometers and 43. But when you are setting on the benchmark and you are measuring on the benchmark, you put in the correct coordinates. These distances are supposed to be equal. Then after checking the distance, you press OK. After pressing OK, then you observe, you press the observation. After pressing observation, then you measure. Then after pressing observation, then you press measure at F4. After pressing measure at F4, it will give you the coordinates. It will give you the coordinates. So you have to check your coordinates of the backside. You have to check your coordinates of the backside point. If they are okay, then from there you will start the work. That is okay. Now, when you want to do orientation, the setting out and rotation now, okay? You want, let's say that you want to do like set out. You have to call you want to set out. The same. When you go to menu, the menu mode, you see that's why you have the set out, offset, the popular RAM, area calculation, set out of line, set out of arc, point project, point to line, intersection, traverse, road, cross section, or you get them from there. So it depends which work you want to do. Now, here I want to do the set out. Set out. Or alternative, you use set out. Before I go to alternative, let me first finish here. And then you type in your coordinates. After typing in your coordinates, using the Z, if you have saved the points in the machine, you press road. When you press road, it will display your points. You see, enter to enter. Road display the points. You see your points. Maybe SR06. I press enter. This is the point I need to check. Then I set out. So it will tell me to turn. You turn your angle. Until you reach at 0, 0. You set it at 0, 0, then you start measuring. 0, 0. So this is showing 54.45. It's showing the distance from the point, from the station, from the instrument to where the point is. 54.45 meters. Distance from the station where the point is. Then you start measuring. When you measure, I don't have a prism there, but when you measure, then it will give you either to go forward. Let me try to target the point I see. When you measure, it gives you now 47 meters, 0.64 to go back. From where the prism is, you tell the channel to go 47.646 meters back. When you reach there at the point, you have 0, 0 here, and the bearing here, the angle should also be 0, 0. Always check 0, 0. Yeah. 0, 0 that way. Yeah. Okay. Then, if you need to record that point, you can press record. Then you give it the name. Then you press OK. So it record it. You go back, set out and finish. When you want to pick maybe the data, before I go any further, this machine it have the flash port. On the flash port, you can bring your flash. When you want to collect the data you put in your flash. Then after putting in the flash, you will come here. You are seeing the word USB. You press on USB. It will give you T type or S type. You use S type. You press enter to call save data. That means you are getting the data. You come with your data in the flash. You put inside. You save that in the machine. Then you press enter. It should be saved. But now I don't have the flash. That's why it is telling me insert USB. So when you want to feed in the data in the machine, you put the flash. Then you come here to road known points. You press enter. It will get the flash on the flash. You put on the machine. Yeah. I think that is enough for today. We shall add another one later.